Good morning, Aaron and Dan, and tell Robert wherever he is hello for me too.
I will do that. You are headed our way. It's a big day for the Shreveport Bossier community, officially opening the I-49 I-220 interchange. Tell us about the event today. Who all is going to be with you?
Wow, it's a fantastic day. So the governor and I are headed up, and we've got some of the local elected officials. We've got Senator Tarver and Representative Glover, and of course, we've got our Transportation Roadshow. So we've invited all of the members of the Joint Transportation Committee who travel around the state to identify projects who are going to participate as well. Representative Norton's going to be there. Mayor Tyler's going to be there. We even have Lindy Broderick, who was with us many, many years ago when we first started that project. Tommy Clark's going to be there, who served on the commission under Governor Foster. So we are super excited.
Rain or shine, right? It's cold and rainy
or
here.
Shine.
Okay, good.
I remember back in 2004 when I was working at the department. Actually, we broke ground on the Myra Murtis section for clearing and grubbing. And it was a cold, blustery day. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully no flags will fall like it did on that day from the wind. But we're looking forward to it. We've got a high school band that's going to play for us. And there's just a lot to celebrate. It is an absolutely gorgeous interchange. I actually thought about doing it at night when it's all lit up, but I don't think I was successful in convincing my press folks to let me do that.
Well, what does this mean? What does this now mean for how far we can travel on I-49 to the north? Getting on it right there at 220.
This means getting on at 220. You got approximately 30 miles of uninterrupted interstate leading into Arkansas, all the way to Texarkana. And what's important is along interstates you find economic development. Along interstates you maximize your time. And believe it or not, they're very safe. And so businesses, industry, citizens who are traveling, and not only can you just get from Shreveport to Arkansas, with the loop on 220, you can take I-49 all the way down to Lafayette and get on I-10. And so it's just a massive business and economic development corridor and connection, because interstates are the vibrant veins of our country. And along I-20, along 220, now on I-49, connecting north, it's going to be phenomenal.
I saw a price tag on just this interchange alone. Am I right? Closing in on $150 million?
You are absolutely correct, and I think the massive number is closer to $700 million for that entire process. And I tell folks all the time, when we broke ground, we didn't have all of the money, but here we are about 15 years later, having built 30 miles of interstate. And so having sustained revenue that keeps up with the cost of inflation is what it takes. And so this is a massive interchange. It's a very attractive, new, innovative design for Louisiana. But most importantly, it's structured, and it's got four different levels, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And in contrast to what we're going to do at Barksdale, Barksdale is only going to be $90 million plus, maybe $100 million. But at the end of the day, think about what this is going to provide access to. And so that one location in Barksdale is really just a major connector. This is a major connector and corridor, so it's money well spent.
We only need 3 more miles of I-49, Shawn. Are we going to get that done?
You know, I've always been very frank and honest with you and the citizens. That project was one that would have been funded had the gas tax passed. Unfortunately, it didn't pass. But the reality, even if it does pass, is you've got to put it in perspective with what we have as an entire state. If we just built the interstate in one community and not connected it to others, will you ever maximize that? The answer is unfortunately not. The fact that you've got the 220 loop helps. I have other priorities that are super important, like the Jimmy Davis Bridge, like I-20 that needs major improvements and widening eventually, and eventually meaning the near term. And then I have these other priorities that folks want, I-69. I have a new interstate, I-14, that folks want to talk about. I still got to connect I-49 all the way to the Port of New Orleans, which will really create the connection and the opportunity for Shreveport. So when you think about the billions of dollars we need and the pittance of funds that we actually have, I have to be realistic. I can't promise you that other $700 to $1 billion 4-mile interchange or intersection is going to get done in the very near future.
You sound like you're kind of bailing out. You're kind of bailing out on the intercity connector.
No, I'm not bailing out on the City Connector. I am just being realistic and asking folks to say, you tell me what's important. The 60,000 people that travel on I-20 today, or the 20-plus thousand, and I don't remember the exact number, that travel across the Jimmy Davis Bridge. We've got to figure out what is the most important project, and you've got lots of needs in Shreveport, and I'm not bailing out on any of those projects. I'm saying let's get together and have a real conversation about what we can afford and what absolutely – can't have a list of priorities all over the state that is far greater than our resources. You know, we've got interstates that connect a lot of folks. You've got interstate connectivity on 220. You've got interstate connectivity 249 north and south of 220. And at the end of the day, I've got major priorities. I've got the Sunshine Bridge right now closed that carries 26,000 people a day. I've got 80,000 on Lake Charles on I-10. And so, you know, people don't always understand, and I get it. The most important project and the most important infrastructure is what's in your community. And my job as the Secretary of the State of Louisiana is to do what's in the best interest of all of our infrastructure. And, you know, we've got to figure these things out. It's not easy. And if we don't get funds, guess what? None of those things are going to happen. And that's the reality. And I think, Aaron, you'd agree, I don't think there's been a time that we've talked that I've not been very frank in saying, guys, we don't have enough money to do the things I already have to take care of.
True.
Let alone build the things that are new. And that's the harsh reality. I'm going to have a hard time making match with the federal government next year for my budget if I don't have enough match money, which means I'm going to leave $150+ million I'm getting today in Washington. I can't give you that new interstate between 20 and 220 if I'm leaving $150 million in Washington. I can't give it to you if I have to spend more money to maintain bridges that are already here in Louisiana, taking away from the new bridges I want to build, and that's where we are.
Dr. Shawn, how long is the highway going to be closed for the grand opening? When will you have it all up and running today? What's the schedule?
Well, when we cut the ribbon, the governor is going to be getting on the interstate after a few photo ops and headed to another event in Shreveport, and you'll be able to drive on it right then and there.
Cool.
So it is ready. It's ready to go.
It's ready to go, and I'll invite all of the citizens out there to come and visit it. The best way to get to it is to take Martin Luther King on the southbound, because the ribbon cutting is going to take place at the foot of the eastbound connection to 220. And so when we cut the ribbon, that flyover will be open. And much like infrastructure, you may have driven pieces of it, and I've been through there in the last several weeks and months and have ridden on parts of it. And so it's been partially open, but today the final stretch of it is going to be open. We're going to cut that ribbon. We're going to ride across it, and we're looking forward to all of the opportunity and safety. And here's another issue for you, Aaron. With all that structure, with the winters that you have in North Louisiana, that means I'm going to have to spend more money to keep it salted and maintained and mowed. And those are the harsh realities, but we understand that we have to have it, because where you have interstates, you have economic development. And this interstate system is over 55 years old, still yet to be complete. And so we've got some issues to deal with, and we're doing the best we can with what we have. But I'm going to say today, there's been a lot of people, whether it's Hal Kessler or Greg Wall, folks who are no longer with us, and there's going to be something else special.
We're losing our connection. We're losing our connection with you.
All right, can you hear now?
Yeah, much better now. We're about to hit a hard break here, Dr. Shawn. Safe travels to you. Please tell the governor I said hello, and we shall see you later. Thank you, sir.